With a drop of mercy, make this servant of yours humbler than a blade of grass. Give me the strength to bear all the trials, troubles, and free me from all desire for honor. O Lord and Master, please invest me with the power to honor all living beings properly. Only then will I sing the holy name in great ecstasy, free of offenses.
Here it says, invest me with the power to honor all living beings properly.
Would you like to drop your bar if there's no?
Oh, bro, yes.
Mute on the.
We read, anybody can tell me what is the strength that you need to honor all living beings around you? You have juniors, equals, seniors, there are animals. That strength that we need to be able to honor all living beings properly. Who can say that?
Seeing them on spiritual platform.
Seeing them on spiritual platform. Thank you. Yeah. Anybody else? That's a nice point. Yeah.
Seeing the soul versus the body of so seeing the soul in everyone.
What did you say?
Seeing the soul instead of body.
Not see the body, just the superficial body. See the soul. Yeah, the prime mover of the body, the operator of the body. Okay, thank you.
Be humble.
Humble, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Humility is very vital for for one's ability to respect other living beings. That's true, yeah. And also we can see them in relation to the Supreme Lord. Like imagine if a father and child are walking on the road, nobody will dare to trouble the child because they know that the father is escorting the child. If you trouble the child, you will be troubled. Correct now? Similarly, if you can see the super soul in the heart of every living being being escorted by the Lord, they are not alone, then we'll be careful in dealing with the living beings also. Invest with me the power to honor all living beings properly. Then the result of that is we can chant the holy name without any offenses. Please read for them. Any of you? Yeah. Okay. One of you.
Thank you. O Lord and Master, when will such mercy fall to this weak and foolish devotee? Please make me your beloved servant.
Yes.
When I examine myself, I find nothing of value. Therefore, your money is essential to me.
Mercy.
Mercy is essential to me.
Mercy is the real money.
If you are not merciful, I shall simply weep, and I shall not maintain my life.
Yeah. Om Ajnana-Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Tattva-Nirvana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravamati Pracharine Nirvishesha Wonderful. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. So Prabhu will tell the topic for the evening today. Krishna, pleasing Krishna. Yes.
So today's topic is secrets to please Krishna through Vaishnava etiquettes.
Yeah.
So this is a very wonderful course. Basically, if you have seen our messages and the flyers, it is an 8-session course, and it will be given by His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu from Mumbai. But he again requested, because Radheshyam Prabhu is in person here, he requested him to inaugurate it. And today he will be speaking, and the remaining 8 sessions will be carried out by His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu. Request you all to please put your mobiles silence. Thank you. Please go.
So we will recite the shloka from Bhagavatam. I'll share it here. So I'll repeat this. This is 4, 11, 13. Okay. Titikshaya karunaya Maitriya chakila jantushu Samatvena cha sarvatma Ansam prasidati. Repeat what is this? You said the words, we will repeat after you.
Titikshaya karunaya
Titikshaya karunaya
Maitreya chakila jantushu
Maitriya chakila jantushu
Samatvena cha sarvatma
Samatvena sarvatma
Bhagavan samprasidati
Bhagavan samprasidati.
Titikshaya karunaya.
Titikshaya
Chakila jantushu. Samatvena cha sarvatma. Ansam prasidati. Titikshaya karunaya. Chakila jantushu. Vedena sarvatma. Samprasidati.
Titikshaya means to tolerate. Who should tolerate whom? The younger ones should tolerate the anger of the elder ones. Like, for example, children should tolerate the anger of the teachers or the parents or the guru, knowing well that they are our well-wishers. They have great concern for us. They are our well-wishers, with that understanding. And karunaya means merciful. Who should be merciful? The elder one should be merciful. Now somebody may ask, is it not contradictory? You are saying Titikshaya, the younger one should tolerate the anger of the elder ones. And the elder ones are told that they should be merciful. If they are already merciful, then where is the question of tolerating? Which means they should be generally merciful. And occasionally they can be strong. If some very important thing has to be taught. And if you know something is for the welfare of the younger one, sometimes they may chastise or they may admonish occasionally. That means that the general disposition of the elder one should be one of compassion. And that will naturally bring about respect in the younger one. The elder one is always merciful. The younger ones naturally have respect. Yeah. What a went up there. Okay. That's it. So, and Maitreya with whom friendliness, Akila Jantushu. Which means with all living entities, we should be friendly, especially equals. We should be friendly with equals and not. If you are not friendly with all living entities, we can unnecessarily invite trouble. I'll tell a little story. Once upon a time, the elephant was walking on the road and he saw a row of ants moving from one side of the road to the other side of the road carrying sugar particles. So the elephant saw that these are tiny creatures. He started pounding on them with his foot. And the leader of the ants came and said, hey, just because God has given you a big leg doesn't mean you have to trample on us. Can't you cross it and go? God has given us a huge body. The elephant laughed and said, just look at you guys, how tiny you are. And look at me, how massive I am. So the leader of the ants understood that he's in a very bad mood. So he told all the ants, immediately put a curfew. All of you get into the hole. They all got into the hole. The leader ant told him, wait and watch what we will do for you one day. The elephant said, you tiny tots, what can you do for me? In front of you, I am like a Mount Everest. He suddenly walked away. 1 week later, the leader ant saw the elephant sleeping. So he entered into the ear of the elephant and started fighting inside. He said, dear, you can't do it. So he was feeling pain. The elephant got up and waved his ears very fastly. And the ant wouldn't come out. He was still fighting inside. The elephant got up and started running on the road. And because he was unable to tolerate the pain, he loudly, he made the trumpet sound. How did he make sound? He made sounds. When all the people came out of the shops, they saw the elephant has gone berserk. He was running so fast. Immediately the news reached the king. King said, don't wait, shoot the elephant. But he was shot. So from this what we learn, don't make enmity even with a tiny creature like that. There is one more verse in the Bhagavatam which says this. It says, this is told by Parishit Maharaj. He says that Sarvatra Maitriyastu Namo Vijayabhya. Similar thing he says, Sarvatra Maitriyastu, let me be friendly with all creatures. Namo, I don't want to have enmity with anybody, he says. Because when he went to forest, he saw a sage with closed eyes and he was not giving him a cup of water and he didn't give him a sitting place. He didn't speak any sweet words. He just sort of neglected him. So he thought this sage is pretending. He's just closing eyes because he's lazy to get up and welcome me. So, and he was very tired. He was very much sweating and thirsty and hungry. Sometimes people go to a hotel and they place an order, it doesn't come on time, they pound on the table due to hunger. So like that, he just picked up a dead snake and put on the neck of the rishi. On the way back, he realized he was falling. And he said to himself, maybe the sage was actually in trance. I reacted too much inappropriately. Later on, he says, Sarvatra Maitriyastu Namo Vijayabhya. Let me not have any enmity with other creatures unnecessarily. Even all of you devotees, in your daily dealing, you have experience. You come across, very humble and good-natured people. You come across neutral people. You come across people who unnecessarily agitate your mind by either ridiculing you or mocking at you or sometimes insulting you, sometimes threatening you. So you feel uneasy in dealing with some living entities in this world. At the same time, we have to, in general, be friendly. In Delhi, one devotee was telling, one car was going fastly on the road, main road. So he came out of the compound with this car, and this car and that car were about to hit him. They came so close, just 2-3 inches distance. So the devotee understood that the mistake was his. He came out of the housing colony in a very fast way. It wasn't appropriate. He understood. So that other fellow in the car, he looked at this devotee with an angry glance. He looked at him, And then generally in India, people shout when you commit a mistake. He asked him, do you have brain? Like that he asked him. In Hindi, they asked him, Akal hai kya? Like that he asked him. So this devotee, and he folded his palm like that. Because he understood his mistake was his. He did like that. Then the devotee was telling, when he opened his eyes and lifted up, he saw the car was not there, it was gone already. Because that fellow thought, what is the point in fighting with the man who is so humble? He didn't find any, because generally they talk back. You've seen that, no? You say one thing, he said one thing, you say one thing, and it goes on. So the devotee didn't pursue the talk. He understood my mistake was mine. So because that devotee was interested in being friendly with all, unnecessarily he was not in Bombay. Train, one fellow used to go daily up, down, long distance. So this fellow, of course, he was very skinny fellow, thin fellow. But if somebody, the crowd would little bit push him, he will make a big human cry for a small thing. But one day, one very big bodyguard, bodybuilder, what do you call they call the bouncers. There was a bouncer in the train who was standing next to him, and that bouncer moved his hand, and this fellow got little hit. He turned around and shouted, who is that hitting me? Like that he shouted. And the bouncer said, it's big. What do you say? Like that he asked him. So this was not my God. He said, no, I just was asking, that's all. Because if he would unnecessarily make enmity with him, if he gives one slap, he will have to go to the doctor and he'll be admitted in the hospital. So Chanakya also says that before you can fight with anybody, know your strength also. Unnecessarily don't create enmity with other living entities. There is one more reason within ISKCON, I'm telling you, why you should not create enmity. I'll tell you another reason. Right from my very early days, I joined in 1991, I got introduced in 1994, I joined. I made this one principle that even if something unpleasant happened with me and another devotee, I will end with a sweet note. While disconnecting with the devotee, will end with a sweet note. I always used to think like that. So now, recently, 2019 onwards, I was given a new assignment in Hyderabad now. So I'm meeting many, there are 4 of us who are a council board there, and Temple Management Council. There's Vaishnava Prabhu, Bangalore Temple President. There is Sitaram Prabhu, one of my early day students who now has become a council member in Juhu. So he is one member, and Vedanti Prabhu, the local leader, and myself, 4 of us. Now we are all 4 leaders. We all got on and off opportunity to meet each other. And by Krishna's grace, our relationship has been always good. Now we 4 are in the same project. And there was a possibility for us to have tussle with each other many occasions. But we, somehow or other, by good behavior, we deflected the possibility of tussles. I remember with each of them, there was possibility of a tussle. But it was all deflected away in the many years. But now we are all working together very joyfully, very happily working together. Because if we act maturely with other devotees, later on you may have to work with devotees with whom you failed to have a good relation. It may be difficult for you. Correct now? Imagine you had a cross with some devotee. Now after 5 years, your Guru Maharaj tells you to work with the devotee. There's a possibility or not?
Yeah.
Therefore, we should make it a simple formula that we work with all devotees nicely. So these 3 words are used here. Titikshaya means tolerate the strong advice given by your superiors. It's for your good. That requires cultivation of it. Titiksha doesn't mean that you bow, just like there's a grass. If a wind blows, it will go like this. After the wind stops, it will go like this. Titiksha is not like that. Titiksha doesn't mean that, you superficially or artificially you bend and then later on again our ego comes back. Sometimes somebody says, why I was tolerant? I should not have been tolerant. One shouldn't think like that. Actually, tolerating superior is done with a proper understanding. Like Arjuna was scolded by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. You are mourning for the people, due to your material attachments, correct? No? Ashuchyan and Vashotaswam, Prajnavadan Shabashate. Arjuna was completely convinced Krishna is my well-wisher, is telling for my good. Yeah, he was very. So you will see that when sometimes the guru, the disciple relationship, or a mentor and a mentee relationship, sometimes one wants to do one thing. Like one example, I'll tell you. Jagadananda Pandit wants to go to Vrindavan, but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not allow him. He said, if you go to Vrindavan, there are spontaneous devotees, you will make offenses to devasis. So don't go, he said. Then Jagadananda Pandit went to Swarup Damodar. Anybody knows who is Swarup Damodar? He is associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, intimate associate. He said, if Mahaprabhu is not allowing me, you please give recommendation. Instead of going, he went like that. Then Swarup Damodar went and told Mahaprabhu, please allow him at least for some time. He's very eager to go. Then Mahaprabhu called Jagadananda and said, okay, you can go for 2 or 4 days. And when you are in Vrindavan, always stay under the custody of Sanatana Goswami. And don't meet Vrajavasis because they are spontaneous devotees. You will commit offenses if you meet them. Keep away from them and quickly return back. These are the 4 instructions Mahaprabhu gave them. So then he went to Vrindavan. So he was staying with Sanatana Goswami there. One day Sanatana Goswami went to the neighborhood temple to collect some alms, rice and vegetables and fruits, which will be given to the monks. He went to collect the charity. So when he collected the charity, when he came back, he was wearing like this, he was wearing a turban, like this, tying a turban, around his head, a saffron turban he was wearing. Who? Sanatana Goswami. So at the time, Jagadananda Pandit was cooking in the kitchen. So he looked at Sanatana Goswami and said, oh, you are wearing a saffron turban on your head. Was it given to you by Lord Chaitanya? Lord Chaitanya Dev, did he give it to you? Very lovingly asked this question. And Sanatana said, no. This was given by one Mukundanand Saraswati. He said, Mukundanand Saraswati is a Mayavadi from the temple. So he gave it, and so I am wearing it. So as soon as Jagannath heard it, immediately he took a pot in the hand. And he lifted the pot. How can he accept a gift from an impersonalist? How much Lord Chaitanya will be displeased with you, like that he lifted the pot. And for this, hearing this, Sanatana smiled and said, oh Jagannath Pandit, I wish I had such loyalty to Lord Chaitanya like you have, he said. Then immediately Jagannath Pandit felt ashamed, he put the pot down. And he said, I'm sorry to Sanatana. So can somebody explain this pastime which I said just now? I want to see what you grasped from this pastime. Yeah. Any of you? How many of you heard this pastime? You heard this, yeah. Would like to explain what you have got this mic, I'll give you. So go there. This has many what? Oh. Anybody knows who is Jagannath Pandit? Who knows? He was cooking for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his eternal form. Yeah.
Not a good speaker, so I just say a few words. What I learned from that story that the Pandit was a really loyal and very much in love with the Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was I don't know, it was just trying to be very much, like everybody would have same love for Mahaprabhu as he did, even though he respected Sanatana Goswami and understood everything, but I don't know, that was kind of, from my understanding, that was
Okay.
kind of the rules.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Here answer has come in the Zoom. Devi Murthy, I think. Devi Murthy, Devidas. And the answer has come here. That Jagadananda Pandit is none other than Satyabhama in the previous time. Satyabhama. You all know Satyabhama? No. See, Satyabhama and Rukmini are two queens of Krishna. Among them, who is mild, who is strong nature? Satyabhama is strong nature and Rukmini is? Yeah. So one day Narada came and gave a flower to Krishna. One Parijata flower, which only grows once in 12 years. And Krishna at that time was standing in between the two queens, Rukmini and Satyabhama. And Krishna asked Narada, Narada, don't you see, I have two queens standing on either side, and you're giving me only one Parijata flower, he said. And then he asked Narada, to whom should I give it? Narada said, that is your problem, not mine. So now Krishna was wondering whom to give. If I give to one, the other one may become upset. So he looked at both of them, then he gave it to Rukmini. Rukmini is a mild-natured queen. He gave it. Then Satyabhama immediately said, oh, yeah, so Rukmini is your favorite, so you have not given me the flower, so you don't care for me. So Krishna said, no, I have given her one flower. I am planning to give you one full tree, Parijata tree, so you will have hundreds of flowers. She said, oh, that's a better idea, very good. Later on, Krishna just didn't say that. He kept his promise. He took her to heavenly planets and plucked one Parijata tree and gave it to her, which she planted in the courtyard behind her house later on. So, now why did I tell you this past time? Somebody may think, why is Satyabhama envious of Rukmini? She's not envious. She knows exactly what to speak that will please the Lord in that relationship. Sometimes when you are eating some very mild, bland diet, if you get pickles, it's very attractive. So Satyabhama is like pickles. Rukmini is like khichdi. So Lord enjoys different types of relationships with different devotees. So same Satyabhama in the next life when she comes as Jagadananda Pandit. He has a very special relationship with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. She, Jagadananda Pandit always tries to make facilities for Mahaprabhu to, if Mahaprabhu sleeps on the floor, he will give a very nice, mattress to sleep. Because Mahaprabhu jumps up in the kirtans and falls on the ground. In order to pacify his pain in the body, he will give scented oil. Mahaprabhu will not accept. Mahaprabhu will say, I am a sannyasi, how can I wear scented oil in my body? You give it to Jagannath worship. So that made Jagannath Pandit very angry. That I am trying to serve the Lord, Lord is not accepting. So then one day, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to pacify Jagannath Pandit, Lord went and said, I will. Jagannath Pandit did not eat for 3-4 days. Lord said, I'll go to the house of Jagannath Pandit and I'll eat. So Mahaprabhu accepted, and Jagannath Pandit was serving so much prasad. Mahaprabhu couldn't say no, because he thought if I say no, that will make Jagannath Pandit angry. Mahaprabhu didn't say no. So the same Jagannath Pandit wanted to go to Vrindavan. Mahaprabhu, initially said no. Later on gave permission. So one thing we can understand that in the Sanatan and Jagannath Pandit relationship, Sanatan behaved maturely. Similarly, if Vaishnavas become upset with you, you have to think of it to be circumstantial. You know what is circumstantial? Circumstantial is not a steady behavior. You should think that this Vaishnava is steadily speaking very good Vaishnava devotee, but occasionally may become a little angry or occasionally may behave like this. So you don't, why this person, occasionally also why he behaves like that? Because of Jagadanand's most loyalty to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that loyalty came out in the form of anger. Because wearing a turban given by an impersonalist looks like disloyalty, isn't it? So when your value is being questioned or tested, then anger comes. So it is only due to the. Similarly, for example, sometimes there is argument between two devotees. One says, we should preach purely the way Prabhupada spoke. Another devotee says, yes, Prabhu, we have to preach purely. At the same time, we have to be compassionate to the new people. And we should take into account their qualification also. So if two devotees have differences in opinion, we need Vaishnava etiquette for them to be able to deal respectfully with each other, correct now? For example, how many of you have heard of the pastime of, Draupadi and Bhima in the pastime of first canto, 7th chapter, where Ashwatthama should be killed or not killed. So what did Draupadi say? Yes? Not killed. What did Bhima say? Should be killed. What did Yudhishthira say? Should not. He joined side with Draupadi. What did Nakula and Sahadev say? They also joined their Draupadi's side. And on this side, Bhima was there. One more person was there with Bhima. Krishna was there. Correct? No? So this side Krishna and Bhima, and that side those 4 people. Now Krishna told Arjuna, you have to do some decision in such a way that all of us will be pleased, he said. It's a little difficult thing, correct? No? They are like 2 poles apart. No? And you have to please all of them. So pleasing Vaishnavas or pleasing the Lord is not a very easy thing, unless we are really sincere. No? So Arjuna looked at Bhima. He understood I have to kill Ashwatthama. He looked at compassionate eyes of Draupadi. He felt I cannot kill Ashwatthama. So how can I balance both the desires? How can I do that? So because Krishna is always in the heart of Arjuna, he prayed to the Lord. Lord gave him the good intelligence, by which you all know what he did. He cut off the jewel on the head of Ashwatthama, which satisfied Bhima that Ashwatthama is thoroughly insulted. For Kshatriya, insult is worse than death. And Draupadi was also happy with that. But why I am telling you, here comes a very important point. Krishna was personally present. He could have told all of them, hey, all of you guys move aside. I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead who has come here. Whatever I say is final. Just follow me. Can't he say that? Can he say or he can't say that? He can say. He can say that. But you can see that the Lord is very patiently, listening to the ideas or opinions of Draupadi. He's listening to Yudhishthira Maharaj, then Bhima, Arjuna, all of them. And Lord is taking a back seat, letting Arjuna take the front seat. So this is not an ordinary thing. Actually, when we grow in seniority also, this is a very important part that we have to learn what do you call it? If you really want to understand the minds of others, like one time I was in Govardhan village, my spiritual master was calling the managers. The managers had fixed some charges for the accommodation. But Maharaj, my spiritual master, was not happy. He said that when the Western devotees come to GV, it should be cheaper. Because they already have so much expenditure in the West. And just because they're coming from America doesn't mean that they're floating in dollars always. They have expenditure also. And otherwise they will go for, nowadays, you have to see other retreat centers, how much they charge also. But he didn't tell them directly that you guys should reduce the charges. He didn't say that. He was asking them, please tell me why the charge is so much, what all are involved in it. And so the whole exercise took a couple of hours. And later on I asked him, you are spiritual master also and you're senior man. You just tell them to reduce the price. He said, see, if I tell them from my side, they will do it, but they will not be convinced. They will not be convinced. But if I allow them to go through the process and if I can make them feel compassion, and then they make a decision, it will be whose decision? My decision or that decision? Their decision. So similarly, parents, how they deal with the children. If the value that you feel in your heart, you can make them feel, that is a greater achievement than telling them to do what you want them to do. So Therefore, Krishna was like that. Actually, Krishna also thought that Ashwatthama shouldn't be killed because there is another person waiting for future. Ashwatthama will throw two Brahmastras, one to kill Pandavas and another one to kill Parikshit. That person is pending. If Arjuna finishes him now only, what will happen to that person? Right now. So Krishna knows Ashwatthama has to be kept pending. But he was testing how Arjuna decides. So therefore, you will see the relationships between Vaishnavas. It involves a certain type of. So this is one shloka which we read just now. If you are a senior, if you are a younger one, tolerate the admonishment of superior, and if you are a superior, be merciful, and whoever you may be friendly with all living beings. And Samatvena Sarvatma Bhagavan. Sarvatma Bhagavan means the Lord who is seated at the heart of all living beings. I'm very pleased with you if you deal with all living entities equally. Now, what is the meaning of dealing with living entities equally? This is a very deep phenomenon, dealing with all living beings equally. You see, one easy to understand meaning is, don't see who is black or who is white, who is rich, who is poor, who is illiterate and who is educated. Treat everybody as a soul servant of God. That's one meaning of this. Correct? Treating everybody equally. Pandita Samadarshana. That's one meaning. Another meaning of treating everyone equally is treating everyone equally by treating them differently. I'll tell you how. For example, if some guests come to your house, if you have an old grandmother who has no teeth, at the same time, her grandchild has come with a small kid. So you may give cookies to the kid, but to grandmother, you may give some juice. But if you give the same cookie to everybody, grandmother cannot bite. Correct, no? So give her something what she can eat. And you can give her son something else. And for the children, you may give. So you are giving them different treatment by treating them all equally, because you are treating them in a way by which they will feel happy. Your goal is to give them pleasure. Correct, no? Therefore, it's a very great science how we have to deal with other living entities. To put it very precisely, I will tell you, we should make an effort to please, not just please, serve, satisfy, and please Hari, Guru, and Vaishnavas. That is the sum and substance of etiquette. We should try to serve, and serving alone is not enough. Satisfy. And satisfaction is also not fully complete. Please Hari, Guru, and Vaishnavas. So if we endeavor to do that, why I am saying Hari, Guru, Vaishnavas? Out of the three, which is the most difficult to please is Vaishnavas. Because if you please Vaishnavas, Guru will be pleased. If Guru is pleased, Hari will be pleased. So Hari, Guru, and Vaishnavas. Generally, many people try to please Lord Hari or Krishna directly, which is most easy to do. Why? Because Lord is always smiling in the temple. Vishwa is standing like this. You like him very much because you don't have any interpersonal clash with him. But dealing with devotees is very difficult. And not only that, Krishna is only one person to please, but devotees are too many. Many times we can please some and not please others. We have difficulty. So all Vaishnavas should make an effort to please all devotees by treating them respectfully. Therefore, in that song we were singing, Sakale Sammana Porite Shakati Deho Nata Yata Yata. Let me respect every living being. And if I respect even the bad living entities also, then for me to respect the other good living entities will be more easy. For example, one time I asked some of my students in Pune, imagine you had an uncle like Dhritarashtra. You all know Dhritarashtra, very atrocious. He was like a passive villain, and Duryodhana was an active villain, you can say. In Mahabharata, you see that. Because Dhritarashtra also once tried to embrace Bhima, but Bhima was told by Krishna to put a statue, and then he crushed the statue, correct? So much envy he had. And he let Duryodhana burn the Pandavas in a house of lac, although they were saved by Vidura. You all know that. So he was actually secretly harboring malice for the Pandavas. You all know that. Hmm. But now war was over, 100 cows was died, all his sons are gone now. His old Dhritarashtra sitting at the palace, but Yudhishthira gave him a royal treatment. So I asked many students, how many of you, what will you do with Dhritarashtra? He said, we'll put him behind the bars. They were saying. But he was given a royal treatment. One day morning, when Vidura had preached him very strongly, Vidura walked to the forest and Dhritarashtra and Gandhari followed him. They went to the forest. But Yudhishthira Maharaj was getting up early in the morning. He saw in the palace and he didn't find Dhritarashtra. Oh, uncle, where are you? Because your 100 sons died in the battle. You are always in a depressed mood. I am worried that you should not have drowned in some river. And in case you fled to the forest, who will feed you any food there? And where will you stay there in the forest? We are all worried about you. Where are you? And he called his secretaries and Sanjaya. And Sanjaya also said, my master never leaves anywhere without telling me. This time he cheated me. He said, Mushito's me. He said, I am cheated. I don't know where he is gone. He started weeping. At that time, Narada came and pacified Yudhishthira. So now here is a very surprising thing. Dhritarashtra had such a hatred for Pandavas, and Yudhishthira Maharaj knows that. Then how could he feel such, weeping or such kind of feelings for him? Anybody, you understand my question? See, if somebody is your hater, not just a hater who made assassination attempts on you, how can you cry for him that he is missing? So when I asked my students, they said, oh, we'll be most happy that he is gone. At last, we got rid of him. But how Yudhishthira can feel like that? Yes?
So that is the only external behavior, and probably you understand that, but inside everyone there is love. Actually, they are suffering, they themselves are suffering with some issue, or that's why this behavior is coming out.
But if somebody treats you as badly as Dhritarashtra, say you are in Pandava's role, and there are 4 or 5 things mentioned list like that, like Pandava's wife was insulted in the public. Dhritarashtra did not take any action. He was like a silent spectator in that case. Then Pandavas were cheated by gambling match and driven to forest. He didn't protest against that. They were put in Varnava, Lakshagra had to be burned alive. He didn't protest. He knew the whole plot. He knew about that. Bhima was fed with poison. He knew that by Duryodhana. Secretly, he harbored malice, thinking that may this Pandavas perish and my sons can rule. And everybody knows that. All Pandavas knew that. After Pandavas knew that, how they can have sympathy for him. So you may say that superficially we have malice, but in the heart of hearts we have love, you may say. But ask yourself, will you be able to love such a person? If such is the nature of an uncle.
They were such great devotees of Krishna that they always saw Krishna's hand in all situations.
Of course, they saw Krishna's hand. Krishna, actually, you know that Krishna is doing whatever is happening for our good. He has some grand, great plan. You can know that. Anybody want to say anything about you, sir? Yeah.
So I was listening to your class a few days ago, and you were telling this that Dhritarashtra actually loved Yudhishthira and Pandu's sons when they were kids, but eventually Duryodhana played a role of manipulating his mind. So he loved them so much that even he was about to declare Yudhishthira the king.
Correct.
So I wanted to add a point there that the intensity of love from everybody in Yudhishthira Maharaj was so much that the envy was suppressed in front of love.
Okay. This love surpassed that. Also, Yudhishthira Maharaj says that.
I was just thinking compassion because, after Dhritarashtra lost all his sons, now Yudhishthira is feeling more compassionate. Like, who do they have now? We are the only people.
Exactly. That's true. Yeah. Very true. That's a very important point she brought out. Actually, Yudhishthira felt that a father who had 100 sons and none of them could succeed in life, and all of them were destroyed in the battle. How much depressed he will be. He'll be shattered practically. And when an old man is shattered, we should, it is an age in which you should do support rather than, keep the old history intact in your mind and keep irritating him or trying to keep him pointing the old things. They used to thought that at the moment he needs sympathy. That was one thing. What he said is correct. And what he said also is correct. That Yusuf felt that when we were fatherless sons, when we came from the jungle, along with Mother Kunti, if he wanted to kill us, he would have finished us at that time. We were small kids. It wasn't difficult. That means he never had a desire to see us destroyed. But he allowed us to grow up to the point of adulthood. That much. But his son was malicious, Duryodhana, but the father couldn't stop Duryodhana from acting like that due to his attachment to his son. So they considered that Dhritarashtra was weak-minded and Duryodhana was greedy for the property and envious of the Pandavas. Like that they understood. Therefore, he understood that our uncle had a good heart, but it was polluted by Duryodhana. So they still had sympathy. So in this way, Yudhishthira Maharaj could feel sympathy for such a man like Dhritarashtra. Why I'm giving you this extreme example? Bhagavatam gives such extreme examples to help us develop that, awaken that love, like Mataji was telling. Like Prahlad Maharaj, when Lord Narasimha asked, what do you want, any benediction? He clearly said, I'm not a businessman, my Lord. That, I did devotion service to you and you will give me something in return. I don't want anything. You are like a king, I am like a sevak, I am happy in serving you, he said. But Lord insisted that I want to give you something, Prahlad. Then Prahlad said, please deliver my father, he said. Again the question, and his father made so many assassination attempts on Prahlad. How did he pray for the deliverance of the father? Isn't it? So that non-malicious heart is glorified very much in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So I will tell you 4 levels of noble hearts. So let us go from one level to another. You will see increasing, sublime qualities. Mrigari, you all know Mrigari? So Mrigari, what was he doing and what did he give up later? How he was and how he became. Yes? He was a cruel hunter. He was half killing birds and animals. Then what he did after meeting Narada? He became compassionate. He gave up half killing animals. So in Mrigari's case, he was violent. Now he became non-violent. Correct, no? That's what happened with Mrigari. Then higher than Mrigari's example, you can think about Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj was cursed by one Brahmana boy called Shringi. When the Brahmana boy, Swami Krishna's son, became angry that, the king put a dead snake out of my father's neck. He tore his sacred thread and spelled out a curse, pronounced the curse, that may this king die in 7 days, like that. Now the Prabhupada writes, Parikshit had the ability to curse back, but he didn't curse back. Now that is more noble, is it not true? You have ability to retaliate back, give back, but he is not giving. Same with Saubhara Muni. Saubhara Muni was under the water, and when Garuda came, he told her, hey, Garuda, henceforth you cannot come here. He said, why? Because I have made friendship with the fishes here. I am a protector of the fish. I have started a fish protection society now. All the fishes have accepted me as their leader. And I am offering them shelter. So you cannot come here to eat any more fish, as he said. And Garuda had come a long distance. He was very, very thirsty and very hungry. He said, okay, sir, I won't come. I'll just take one fish. And he picked up one fish and flew. But that fish happened to be leader fish. And he was a very stout fish also. So now Saubhari became very angry. He said, I told you not to take any fish. You didn't listen to me. If you ever come here again, your head will crack into 1,000 pieces, like that he said. At that time, Garuda looked back at Saubhari. He also was capable of cursing back. He had that power. He would on the spot trouble the rishi. But he thought he's a yogi baba, underwater performing some meditation. And anyway, he's also a yogi in line with God. He's not an asura. He's not a demon. And now he's in angry mode. He lost his temper. Forget it. He forgave him and went ahead. So both examples of Parikshit and Garuda are examples of a tolerant devotee. Correct, no? Very tolerant devotee. Higher than that is the example of Prahalad, I told you. Prahalad not only tolerated the behavior of the father, he prayed for the father. See, tolerating is one level, but praying for the enemy is even more greater level. Is it not true? Then imagine somebody is making assassination attempt on us. You will want to hand him over to police, isn't it? And to pray for his welfare is not an ordinary thing. And even more greater than that is Ambarish Maharaj. You all know that, our Durvasa Muni creates a big demon. Correct, no? Ambarish Maharaj was thinking that actually I took this little Charanamrita I should not have taken, because of which I made the sage very angry. It was my mistake. So 1 year he was waiting. When Durvasa Muni went round and round, you all know where all he went, and he came back. At last he came and fell at his feet. And Sudarshan was not leaving. Sudarshan was not leaving. So at that time, Ambarish said, Adharma Shilasura Dhumaketave. He says that, oh, Sudarshan, you are supposed to chase after people who are adharmic asuras, or demons. How is it that you are chasing after this Brahmana? Sudarshan further said, what kind of Brahmana is he? He is trying to kill a Vaishnava like you. You are such a pure Vaishnava. I am not going to spare his life, he said. Then Ambarish said, he offered many, many prayers to Sudarshan. And then he told Sudarshan that whatever pious activities I have done till date, take the fruits of all of them I am offering. So he took his Kamandalu, that patra, and then offered it in oblations to Sudarshan. So Sudarshan was very pleased. Ambarish is offering all his life devotional service for saving the life of this Brahman. Then Sudarshan retracted back after that. So this is even more bigger than Prahalad. Prahalad is just praying to the Lord. This fellow is offering all his pious credits, good credits, what he has done to save the life of enemy who tried to kill him. So these are all increasing degrees of, Vaishnava behavior. A Vaishnava is compared to a, what do you call it, a sandalwood tree. I'll tell you one Puranic history from Padma Purana. See, long before, many years ago, there was one great thief called Gulika. This Gulika, he was such a well-known highway robber that everybody knew in that town, and nobody would go in that route in the jungle where he would live, because he was a very, very great criminal. He would not only loot the people, he would kill the people also. So nobody went in that way. So Gulika understood that these days I'm not getting anybody to loot. So he left that forest and was proceeding, walking further. So he went to a pradesh called as Savira. So Savira is in those days Kaushal Desh. Savira was a very opulent city. So when he entered the city, he saw broad highways and shops and merchants and people stinking rich. And then he saw in one place a big pond, a holy pond, with all the steps leading to the water below. In front of the pond, he saw a Vishnu temple, a big temple, a huge temple with a gopuram, with a golden kalashas in the top. So when he saw the golden kalash, he thought, wow, I have to find out how I can get up there. If I can go up, I can loot those kalashas. He thought, maybe in the night I can do that, he was thinking. Then as he proceeded walking further to the temple, it was like 11 o'clock or so. When he entered the temple, he saw there was the middle of the day, not many people were there. The arati was over and only one person was sitting at the temple near the pillar. His name was Uttanka Brahman. So the Uttanka Brahman was sitting peacefully studying the scripture. He was a storehouse of austerities, and he was a pure Vaishnava. He was constantly absorbed in the remembrance of Lord Vishnu in his mind, reciting the stotrams and shlokas and things like that. So he was sitting. So this fellow looked at Lord Vishnu's deity. Vishnu's deity was wearing a golden mukut, golden kundal, golden necklace in his neck and everything, and looked very beautiful. So he thought, so much jewelry in the body. So he thought that the only enemy for me in getting this jewelry is who? That's what I am. So he took out his knife big knife, sharp knife. And he looked here and there, no one was there. He thought, I will run to this fellow and finish him, and then I will take this. So he ran into the temple hall, and he put the Brahmana down and sat on his belly. And immediately took his knife to cut his neck. So at that time, the Brahmana told the Lutang Brahman told him, he said, please wait a minute, oh thief. I'm going to die in your hands now. But I want to speak a couple of shlokas to you. You hear this, and then because my duty is to study the scriptures and preach. So hear these good words of wisdom. And then when I am dead, you can consider this, contemplate on this in your mind. So the first verse he told him was, Sujanonayati vairam parahita buddhir vinashakalepi chedepi chandanattaru mukham surabayati kutarasya, he says. What he said? Vinashakalepi. The Vaishnava devotee is one. Even in the Antima Kal, when he is about to quit his body, he will always think parahita buddhir. He will always think about the welfare of others. He is not a selfish person. The Vaishnava always thinks of welfare of others. Prahlad Maharaj was so many times about to be killed that he always thought of welfare of his father. So Vaishnava always thinks of welfare of others. How? He gives the example. Just like if somebody takes an axe and you hit a sandalwood tree, Mukham Surabayati Kutarasya, the sharp end with which you cut the sandalwood tree, that point only it renders it fragrant. Like that. So this axe is compared to people like, Durvasa Muni or like Hiranyakashipu. So for that welfare only they pray. Like that he says. The more you hit a sandalwood tree, the more the fragrance increases. Correct, no? So the Vaishnavas become more and more glorious, the more others trouble them. The example is given in 10th canto Srimad Bhagavatam. When a mountain is heavily showered upon by rain, sometimes heavy rain, and after the heavy rain is over, under the shining sunlight, you find the mountain is shining. That means all the dirt and dust and the impurities over the mountain get washed away by the rain. Similarly, a Vaishnava's purity outshines much more than before when they are put into subjected to trouble by various people. It is said like that. That's example given. So, and then he said one more verse, he said, Mrigamina sajjanana trinajala santosha vihita vrittina lubdakari varapishuna nishkarana vairino jagati. He said, my dear thief, in this world there are three people who are very innocent people, pure-hearted people, simple people, harmless people. But strangely enough, they have three respective enemies, he said. And who are they? He said, Mriga means a deer. Meen means fish. And Sajjananam, Sajjan means Vaishnavas. These three. And who are the Nishkarana Vairino Jagati? Who are the people, causeless enemies to these three people? He said, Mriga, Meena Sajjananam, Trina. The Mriga is satisfied with Trin. You have seen a deer in the forest, it eats some grasses in the forest. It doesn't put demand on anybody else. Correct now. It is simply satisfied eating little grass. Is grass very costly in the forest? Forest is full of grasses. It doesn't harm anybody, hurt anybody. It's living in one corner, eating. Similarly, mean just floats in the river water or ocean water. What harm does the fish do to anybody? God has given him water, he is floating. Similarly, Sajjan, Vaishnavas, Santosha Vihita Vrittina means they become satisfied very easily. Give them little khichdi, they are happy. Give them one corner to sleep, they are happy. They have no demands at all, Vaishnavas. Whatever is sent to them by Krishna, they will accept. They don't make any demands. Vaishnavas learn to live a life free from undue demands. But these three people are three enemies. So who is enemy for the deer? Hunter. Hunter or a tiger. Correct? No? They chase behind that innocent deer. Similarly, for a fish, who is the enemy? Fisherman. Who puts a hook and catches the fish. Similarly, for the Vaishnavas, fault-finding critics. Even if Vaishnava is very simple and pure-hearted, somebody will always take fault. Like Shiva Thakur was a very pure soul. But Gopal Chapal, he found fault with him. Haridas Thakur was very simple. In Maharashtra also there was a great devotee called Tukaram. You heard about Tukaram? He would write lakhs of wonderful poems he has written on Lord Krishna. So he would write a poem, below that he would put his signature saying that Tukamane, like that he would put. So there was an envious person whose name was Salamalo. So what he will do, he will take his poems and then last line he will change Salomane, he will put it. He will remove his name. It's called plagiarism, we call it, no? Plagiarism, we call it. Yeah, plagiarism means you take somebody else's work and you put your name. That's what he would do. So one day Salamalo's servant said, "Sir, this song where you have undersigned, I've heard this song somewhere." He said, "Yeah, where did you hear? I think you heard from you only." He said, "No, sir, not from you." And then he said, "Oh, that was Tukaram's song." You won't tell anybody. It seems that, simple Vaishnavas will always have some enemies like that. So this Brahmana said that. So, and then this Brahmana said, still the Vaishnavas, although they have this causeless enemies against them, criticizing, still the Vaishnava's heart doesn't become polluted by that. In Srirangam Temple, I heard, I think it is Vedanta Desika, I think. It's Vedanta Desika who went to the temple. He would go in front of the Lord and say, "My dear Lord, I am a great sinner, I am a fallen soul," like that he would pray. And one day when he was praying, he had one enemy. That fellow stood by the side and said, "Satyam, Satyam," he was telling. He said, whatever this was saying. So now he looked to the Lord and said, "My dear Lord, every day when I came and petitioned to you saying that I am fallen, you didn't believe. Now I have got a witness also for you." Whatever I'm saying is saying Satyam. At least now you believe and give your mercy, keep your mercy upon me, he said. Which goes to show that he didn't hate that fellow who is finding fault with him. So in this way, you will find finally what happened, I'll tell you now, I don't want to leave you with suspense. What happened with the thief having a knife? As soon as the thief heard it, immediately his whole body started trembling, hearing these 2-3 verses. He got up and tears were streaming from his eyes continuously. He was trembling whole body. At that time, a Vaikuntha airplane came and stood just outside the temple. And from that came 4 Vishnudutas came. They entered the temple hall. And Uttana Brahman was surprised. What is this miracle happening in front of me? And they said, this Gulika Brahman, he was a great devotee in the past life, but he got into bad association and he was polluted. And he completely become forgotten about his previous wisdom, just like it becomes camouflaged, covered over. Now he has become covered over. But now that he heard a Vaishnava philosophy from you about the glory of a Vaishnava devotee, this Gulika Brahman has revived his knowledge. Therefore, all the Ashtasattvika are the 8 symptoms like tears in the eyes, hair standing on it, body trembling, body color changing, voice faltering. All those symptoms are manifest in his body. He said, now he has become completely purified by your association with Brahman. He said, so now he is eligible to enter Vaikuntha. They said, so we have come to take him. When this Gulika heard it, he fainted unconscious. When he got up, from the Vaikuntha airplane, he picked up the rose petals and showered it on Uttanga Brahman. And he circumambulated him 3 times and fell flat on the ground with Ashtanga Pranam and said, "Uttanga Brahman, you are my spiritual master because I was so degraded, but you elevated me to such a great height that, now I am returning to Vaikuntha. It is only by your grace that I achieved this." He said, and thanking Uttanga Brahman, he went. So the Vishnudutas, after putting Uttanga Brahman in the Vaikuntha plane, when they were about to leave, they turned again to Uttanga Brahman and said, the people in the world may wonder that how, instead of taking you back to Vaikuntha, we are taking Gulika back. But little do they know why we want people like you to remain in this world, because you have to transport to Vaikuntha many more Gulikas. Therefore, we are kept. When your last moment will come, we will come again to take you. You are already overqualified to go back to Godhead. You are already eligible to go back to Godhead. But we will come and take you, he said. And the Uttama Brahman was very happy and continued study of the scriptures happily after that. So, why I am telling you, when you read the Vaishnava literatures, I am just today talking about one quality, tolerance, correct now? You can see they are so sublime and so pure, this quality. Therefore, we have to associate with these qualities and their characters. Initially, when you hear these pastimes, different devotees will be touched in their hearts to different levels according to your own realizations. And as we keep hearing them, initially we will like the pastime, then we will like the qualities, then we will like the characters who exhibit these qualities. And we will enter into the spirit of those characters. And then we will see this quality enter our hearts also. And it will actually become an integral part of our being, at least to some proportion, when we hear this pastimes very reverentially. But one very important quality that we need in spiritual life is dash. I will not tell you what it is now. I tell you, I'm about to conclude, I'll tell you. In Pune, we had a great Gurujan Prabhu came to Pune. So he called all the brahmacharis, we had a class. He asked, there is only one quality that you have to learn by joining the brahmachari ashram. Can any of you guess what it is? He asked. So we all said different things. Somebody said humility. He said, humility, wonderful, he said. Some said tolerance. That's also wonderful, he said. Like that, we all said different things. Respect. Somebody said, austerity, cleanliness, penances, early to bed, early to rise. So many things different devotees said. Almost 25, 30 answers were given, none of it was right. So we were all wondering what else is left. We thought we almost covered everything. We said self-control, so many things we said. And nobody could say that. And at last one brahmachari said, obedience. Yeah, that is it, he said. Obedience. He said that all the scriptures, they conclude with this one point, obedience to Supreme God. For example, Arjuna was initially disobedient. At the end of Bhagavad Gita, he said, Karishye Vajanam. He surrendered. Prithu Maharaj was planning to do 100th yajna. After Lord Vishnu told him, he agreed to do only 99 yajnas. Because Priyavrat Maharaj had planned to take renounced order. After hearing, he agreed to get married and rule the world. See, all of you know, Dhruva Maharaj had little bit of josh or, passion in the beginning, you all know that. But I can show you how Dhruva Maharaj, if you see, he was obedient to his mother in not shouting back at his stepmother. And his mother told him to go and meet the saintly people. He obeyed his mother. Then he went to the forest, he met the saintly person. Who? Narada. Then after hearing from Narada, he was very much touched by Narada's character. He became completely obedient to his instructions. He stood on one leg and performed austerities. In 6 months, he saw Lord Vishnu eye to eye. Correct? Then after seeing Lord Vishnu, he had become completely purified. Correct? And he didn't want to rule the kingdom, Dhruvaloka, but Lord actually told him to rule the world for 36,000 years. So he obeyed the Lord also. He obeyed his mother, then he obeyed Narada, then he obeyed Lord Vishnu. And then afterwards, you all know the second episode of Dhruva. He wanted to kill the Yaksha who killed his brother Uttama. In that connection, he was not knowing which Yaksha killed his brother. So he was wholesale killing Yakshas. That time, Swayambhu came and told him, he said, stop this, war, Dhruva. You don't know who is that one Yaksha who killed your brother. You are killing wholesale. This is inappropriate. Immediately stop the war. He obeyed Swayambhu. Then Swayambhu told him that his grandfather told him, Kuvera is very upset with you that you have he's the master of the Yakshas. You should go and pacify him. So he went and bowed down to Kuvera. And Kuvera told him, I'm so pleased with you. I'll give you whatever benediction you want. Here comes the climax point. I am going to tell and conclude the talk today. So at that time, Dhruva Maharaj said, I don't want anything other than pure devotion service to Lord Vishnu. Please bless me that I can perform Shuddha Bhakti. And Kubera told him, Tadastu, I bless you that you will attend to devotion service. Immediately I had a question in mind. Kubera is a demigod. How can demigod give you a benediction of Shuddha Bhakti? Only a Shuddha Bhakta can give benediction of Shuddha Bhakti. How can a demigod give? So I had this question. Later on, when Gurujan Prabhu brought out this book, Unveiling the Lotus Feet, and a series of books he brought. In that I found the answer. You know what is the answer? This answer will really shake us. He says that although Kubera is a demigod, Dhruva prayed to him for Shuddha Bhakti for one reason. He said, if I have caused grievance in your heart, that grievance will become a stumbling block in my going back to Godhead. So by bowing down to him and praying to him, Kubera agreed to remove the grievance in his heart. So the road ahead for Dhruva became clear. So this is the explanation he has given. So very amazing explanation. So in our life also, unnecessarily we don't cause. That's why it's a sakale samana korite shakati deho natha yata yata. Yata yata means according to the position of the individual devotees, we should respect them. You imagine if a small child comes and gives a flower to Prabhupada or some senior devotee, it's not that you immediately offer obeisance to the child. You don't do that. You express affection for the child in one way. But according to the position of a person, we have to offer respect. So the greater the advancement of a devotee, the offense also becomes greater if we are neglectful. So therefore, in the Vaishnava etiquette, or Maryada, as we say, is and Vaishnava etiquette centered around all the Vaishnava qualities. So that is very important for us because without that sadachara, we cannot experience the spiritual platform. So, because otherwise the Shastras will remain very theoretical for us, and we will remain a quiet spool, and without ability to grasp the spiritual plane. But the spiritual plane becomes immediately accessible to those who cultivate, these qualities like humility, tolerance, respect for all, and freedom from false prestige, and obedience to Krishna. And also, as I told you, to serve, satisfy, and please Hari Guru and Vaishnavas, those who make effort in this direction. Srila Prabhupada ki. Yeah. I can take some discussion.
Anyone has any questions?
Gauranga Darshan was a wonderful teacher. Actually, when I went to Govardhanapa village for a couple of years, there were many teachers there. And, so I studied the Bhaktivedanta course there. But I was a very old student. My age was 48 when I went there. And the other students were all 21, 22. So Gauranga Prabhu once came to the class and said, if any of you guys have difficulty writing test, I will challenge you guys because Radheshyam is writing test every day. See, he is like your father. So Gauranga Prabhu thanked me for coming to Govardhana Village. He said that by your coming, I can use you as a, this thing to show example to tell these guys to write. So in our batch, we are about 15, 20 of us. So I studied for 2 years. So there I saw Gauranga. Although Gauranga Darshan Prabhu is a younger devotee, he was like 2006 or 2007 he joined. But in a very short time, he made a very rapid progress in spiritual life. And has brought out many Subodhini guides. He has brought Bhagavad Subodhini and Chaitanya Subodhini and the memorization book. And also for children, he has brought the Bala Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam tapes. He got 3 volumes, I think, is it? I think he's going to complete the whole Bhagavatam, I think, in that. Very nice. Your children have got it here. You got a copy. All 3 you got?
Yeah, we got
one. First one you got it. Second and third one has just come, I think. So he's doing very laudable service he's doing. And also he is himself a very good example of Vaishnava, wonderful Vaishnava. He's heading the, and also he is, okay, there's a question. sometimes offering respect to personalities like Guru Maharaj or other sannyasis is easier than offering respects to those who we see around often and we see them as ordinary. How to get rid of this tendency? Good question. Very good question. Yeah. So, therefore, I would say that we should spend time in understanding how a Vaishnava, any Vaishnava is much, much greater than ordinary living entities. I will give you a homework for this. There are two sections in the Bhagavatam. One section is Lord Kapila section, which is 3.29, third canto 29 chapter if you read. He says that the dry grass, is lowest, then green grass is little higher, then plants are higher, trees are even more higher. Then he says, better than them are like the reptiles, better than them are the two-legged birds, better than them are crow and creatures like that who can see, properly. And then he says, then better than them are like the four-legged animals. And then he says, better than animals are the humans. Better than humans, amongst the humans, he says, those who follow the Varnashrama Dharma, Chaturvarnya system, they are the best, he says. Amongst them, the Brahmanas are best, he says. And among Brahmanas also, one who can chant the Vedic mantras, he is the best. And amongst those who can chant the Vedic mantras, one who knows the meaning of what he is chanting, he is the best. And amongst those who know the meaning, one who has the ability to cut into pieces the false logic put by other people, atheistic people. Such a Brahmana can cut their false arguments into pieces. Such a Brahmana is even greater. Greater than that Brahmana is a Vedanta Paraga, one who is a very great learned person in the Vedanta Sutra, he says. And better than that person is a Vaishnava, a devotee. And better than a Vaishnava is a pure devotee Vaishnava, like that he says. So, and I am even subordinate to that type of pure Vaishnava. Lord says that. Kapil also says that, and same thing you will find in the Rishabhadev section also. So he also goes like this, talking about different categories of people. At last he says, all the devatas, they worship me, but I worship the pure Vaishnava, like that he says. So this is the second section. Another third section you can read is 9th canto, Ambarish Maharaj pastime, when Durvasa Muni is going to meet Vishnu, right now. The dialogue between Vishnu and Durvasa Muni. You can read Vishwanath Thakur's commentary. Powerful it is, very powerful. You will really understand what a Vaishnava is. The Vaishnava is the most harmless species on earth, you can say. So they can't harm even an ant also. And they love all creatures without any discrimination. They see on a soul platform. And they are satisfied with practically very paltry amount of food and accommodation. And they have no expectations. And they are free from material or spiritual expectations. For example, material, they don't want to become Indra or Brahma or anything like that. Even spiritually speaking, they don't want 5 muktis also, unless those 5 muktis are accompanied by seva. There's a word which says that, Diyamanam na grihananti vinamat sevanam jana, it is said. So, therefore, for example, one of you goes to the spiritual world. As soon as you go to the door of the spiritual world, then at the entrance there will be a screening committee. They will ask you, who are you? You say, Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Krishna Bhakti Vedanta. Okay, this is Bhakti Vedanta Swami's father, ISKCON fellows. They'll understand. Okay. So they will ask you, what is your name? Make sure that, against your name you have a Dasi or Das. I say, I am Radheshyam Das. Oh, very good. That means you want to be servant. Then they will ask you, whose servant you want to be? And if you say, I only want to be the servant of that beautiful flute player, Krishna, not the other Vaishnava fellows. Always I had tussle with them. Then they will say, Pari, go back. First you purify your heart and come. They will again send us back. So when we go there, we should say, I want to be servant of who? Hari, Guru and Krishna. Then he will ask you, okay, you want to be a servant of them. What do you want to do? You want to serve them? How long you want to serve? And if you say that, maybe for a week or two. No, go back again. Or if somebody goes to spiritual world and says, they ask you, what do you want to do inside the spiritual world? Oh, now I want to relax. I have done too much chanting. Chanting 16 hours every day. Now give me an easy chair, give me a nice prasad, I relax. They'll say, go back now, get purified and come. Correct? So we have to say that I want to serve Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas eternally for all time to come. And what other aspiration you have? No other aspiration. They will say, permission granted, chatak, go inside. Then they will give us permission. That is the meaning of a Vaishnava devotee. Manasa deho geho yo kichu more arpilu tuva pare Nanda Kishore. You heard the song? Very beautiful song it is. My dear Lord, my body, my mind, my home, my wife, my children, everything I offer at your lotus feet, he says. Jo kichu more, whatever they have, I offer it all to you, he says. And then he's saying, you are my only person. Very intelligent personality, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He says, see, what can I offer? What I can offer is limited. What you can offer is, if you have Krishna, you have everything. So Krishna is saying, you enter my heart and I will give everything to you, he says. And then he's saying, whether I'm wealthy, whether I'm poor, whether good fortune comes in my life, or by the stroke of destiny, I suffer some misfortune. Whether I'm living in this body or I die and take another body. Wherever I go, I will always worship you. I will adore you. I'll be your servant, like that he says. And I don't want to become a four-headed Brahma in case I may become forgetful of you, he says. Rather, I'll become a worm in the house of a devotee. Because certainly in the house of a devotee, prasadam will be there, undoubtedly. And they might have left some particles of rice here and there. I will say, Chant Mahaprasad, they eat that and give happy. So like that he prays. Very, very amazing prayer it is. So therefore we should know the nature of Prabhupada says we should see the Vaishnavas like Vishnu Dutas. The only difference is Vishnu Dutas have 4 hands or Vaishnavas have 2 hands. That's the only difference Prabhupada says. No other difference. We should think. Because you will see in this world, it's very rare to find somebody who heartily accepts the Supreme Lord and surrenders one's life to the Lord. Very few living beings. Those who clap hands in the kirtan, those who dance ecstatically, and those who are satisfied with only the food offered to Lord and they don't eat anything other than that. And those who always are auspicious thinkers, those who are those always think of the welfare of the other creatures. So Vaishnavas are not ordinary. You heard this famous verse? Brahmananam Sahasrebhyo Satriyadi Vishishyate Satriyadi Sahasrebhyo Sarva Vedanta Paragha Sarva Vedanta Vitkotya Vishnu Bhakto Vishishyate. Finally it says, Vishnu Bhakta Vishishyabhyo, it says that Ekankiko Anantata, it says that Ananya Bhakta, the Shuddha Bhakta, Kevala Bhakta, is the fairest in this creation. So now here the Mata is asking that, we respect our Guru, what about other Vaishnavas? So we should know that those whom you are living with, maybe Sakhis or Sakhas or Manjaris in the spiritual world. Because every Vaishnava around us, they are all, they have a Siddha Deha, and this is their Sadhana Deha. Right now what you are seeing around this is what Deha it is? Sadhana Deha. Because you are all doing Sadhana, everyday chanting. But by doing Sadhana, you will become so purified. One day your Siddha Deha will be awakened. Right now. At that time, you will know who you are in the spiritual world. Imagine there are Gopas, Gopis around you. How will you deal with them? Right now? How careful? Prabhupada said, you don't know who are you staying with, Prabhupada said. You may be staying with some very, very intimate personalities with Krishna. You heard this one? Srinivasa Acharya's past time, you all have heard this? One true story I will tell you from Srinivasa Acharya. Srinivasa Acharya is disciple of whom? He is disciple of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami is disciple of Srinivasa Acharya. Srinivasa Acharya is disciple of Ramachandra Kaviraj. 3 generations. So now you remember Gopal Bhatta Goswami is disciple is Srinivasa Acharya. And his disciple is Ramachandra Kaviraj. So one day Srinivasa Acharya in his house sat like this and chanted Hare Krishna, closed his eyes. Completely went wrapped in meditation and he was not breathing at all. So family members became worried. They tried to put a cotton near the nose. It was not moving. They thought he's dead. They started weeping, called the neighborhood people. Everybody said that we don't know what is happening with him. Maybe only his intimate disciple Ramachandra Kaviraj can tell us. They were waiting. They thought, but to bring him, it will take 1.5 to 2 months. Because in those days they had to walk and come. But when they were thinking of Ramachandra Kaviraj, next moment he arrived there. And when he came, he heard the news. Then he sat down next to Guru in the same similar posture. He started chanting Hare Krishna. He also went into trance. Now they are wondering what to do. Both the fellow, Guru and disciple, both have gone and both are not breathing now. Sometimes in a brahmachari class, if one brahmachari has not come, I will tell him, hey, go and get that fellow. So this fellow will go to ashram and he also won't come. Both are gone now. So that's what people are thinking. Now what else can we do now? At that time, what was happening was, they both in that trance went into the Siddha Deha. Even the spirit soul has an eternal form, correct, no? Swarupa. And they had entered into the spiritual world. There the Yamuna was flowing. In the bank of Yamuna, all the gopis were thronging. And in the water, they were all splashing the water and searching something. So Gopala Goswami's Siddha Deha is called as Guna Manjari. Guna Manjari. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami as Guna Manjari was also in the crowd of gopis, searching for the Nupur. At that time, Guna Manjari, Gopal Bhatta Goswami's disciple, what is his name? No, Gopal Bhatta Goswami's disciple is Srinivasa. His name is Mani Manjari in the spiritual world. So Mani Manjari found out Guna Manjari, his guru, in the Manjari form. So he went and he wanted to tell the Guruji that all are waiting for you. He wanted to tell that. But then he saw him searching for the Nupur, so he also started searching like that. And this Mani Manjari found out the Nupur. And all the gopis were saying that yesterday evening we were doing rasa dance at the bank of Yamuna, and Radharani's Nupur flew off and fell into Yamuna. So now Mani Manjari found out. So Mani Manjari gave to Guna Manjari, and Guna Manjari. Correct. Ramachandra Kaviraj who came, his name is Karuna Manjari. I think it's Karuna Manjari only found out. So Karuna Manjari gave it to Mani Manjari, who is Srinivasacharya. Srinivasacharya gave it to Gopala Bhatta Goswami, who is Guna Manjari. And then he gave it to Radha Vishaka, and then they gave it to Radharani. Radharani became very pleased when she got that. So she thanked them. She had this tambul. You know tambul? It's a little sweet flavored one. So she took that tambul and gave it to Karuna Manjari, who found out that. So of course she gave it to Guna Manjari. Guna Manjari gave it to Mani Manjari. Mani Manjari gave it to Karuna Manjari. It came. So Karuna Manjari very gratefully tied it in her sari. And now here all the people are wondering what to do. They both have gone away. Then after this pastime got over, the spiritual world, then Karuna Manjari entered back into the body again. With a loud Haribo, he chanted and he came back into the body. Then within a few seconds, then Guna Manjari also came back into the body. And when they both came back and got up, all the Vaishnavas became very, very happy. And they all started singing, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Adhavaya Namaha, Hare Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan.
Gopinari Gopinata Madana Mohana.
Gopinari Gopinata Madana Mohana.
Nityananda Sri Advaita Sita.
Sri Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita.
Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata
Gita. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Gaurango Nitai.
Nitai Gauranga.
Gaur Hari Bol.
So they said, standard and danced. And as they were dancing, suddenly they were wondering how is it that the very great fragrance started permeating the whole room, and everybody was wondering. In this kirtan rasa, they got absorbed. They were looking at each other, where is the fragrance coming from? And then Srinivas Acharya reminded Ramchandra Kaviraj, hey, do you remember Radharani gave you one tambur in the spiritual world? So then, at that time, he had tied it in the sari, isn't it? So now he saw it, and the same was in his dhoti now. From the sari, now it has come to dhoti now. So he took out that, and it was still there. And then everybody came and smelled it, and they were transported to a spiritual plane simply by smelling Radharani's tambur. So, in this way, from a material plane, he can be transported to a spiritual plane. From a spiritual plane, he can again come to material plane. It's possible. So, material plane, we call it as what deha? Sadhana deha. And spiritual plane, it is called Atma Swarupa is called Siddha deha. So, when we look at our other Vaishnavas, we can think that these Vaishnavas also have their Siddha deha. And everybody around us is chanting 16 rounds. They're following 4 legs, reading Prabhupada's books. Everybody is actually on their way back to Godhead. So we have to respect everybody. So even the children, like little Radhika, you see, born in a devotee family. Prabhupada said these children born in devotee families, they are all demigods who are waiting to be born in Vaishnava families. There's a verse in the Bhagavatam, Na yatra vaikunta kata sudhapada, na sadhavo bhagavata sadashraya, na yatra yajnesha Makhama Votsava, Suresha Lokopina Vaisasegyatam, Kim Dushkarayatna Pradibit Tapopratai, Nana Divir Badijayana Falguna, Nayatra Narayana Pada Pankaja, Smriti Pramushta, Atishayandri Vatsava. These 2 verses says that Nayatra Narayana Pada Pankaja. The demigods say that in the heaven, we don't have the kind of Sankirtan that people in Bhumi are doing. The kind of yajna, the kind of kirtan, the kind of Bhagavad Gita, the kind of association of devotees. So we don't want to live even in a heavenly planet. We want to be born in earth where we can be born in Chicago and sit and hear with all the Vaishnavas like you all are hearing. They want to come down here. So in this way you will find those who are born in ISKCON purposes, many of them might have done devotional service a lot in their previous lives, and they are born in devotee families now. Right from childhood, they are able to eat prasad, they are able to wear tilak, they are able to wear kantimala, they are able to chant the holy names. They are surrounded by spiritual ambience. This is not an ordinary thing. So, therefore, we have all the reason to respect Vaishnavas around us. We can't take them cheaply. And we will only stand to gain by giving them due respect. Like in India, a Kattar Brahman, a strong Brahmana, you give him one mala to chant Hare Krishna, they won't be able to. Very difficult. On the other hand, you will see that in ISKCON people are chanting 15 rounds every day. Like when I used to chant in the puja room, my father will come every 10 minutes, comes here and go, are you still standing? Still standing? After 2 hours, when I got up from the chanting, the father said this, really, your bhakti is so great, I think Krishna will descend here only. It seems you are not going to get up without leaving the Lord from appearing. I said, I am not the only one in ISKCON, everybody is doing like that, correct? So, But this is the kind of sadhana Prabhupada gave for even brahmacharis, grihasthas, manaprasas, whether you are a businessman, whoever you are, chanting 16 rounds every day. Our movement, the sadhana that is given to us is high class. Those who are doing sadhana are not ordinary people. You get mantra siddhi by doing day after day, month after month, year after year. You become very powerful. And by that siddhi, you are able to say no to so many bad things of the world, which other people are unable to give up. People are simply like clay toys in the hands of Maya. We are not serving Maya, we are directly serving Krishna. We are under the custody of Krishna. So thank you for all the questions. It's getting late for all of you. Let me see. I think, yeah, I can take, yeah. Yeah. Yes. Okay, both of you. Yeah. One of you start and then.
So, as we are talking about tolerance, I was just wondering, like, what is the limit of tolerance? Because, like, all Pandavas went through so much, and when did it become like enough is enough? We are not tolerating. Similarly, it can come in our day-to-day life as well. Like, yes, be tolerant, but when is it? How do we set that?
Okay, I'll show you something. You don't have to tolerate blindly or tolerate with wisdom. See, there are 8 reasons I have given why we tolerate. Like, when others are the problem, don't react. If you react, it will be more trouble. For example, many times you tolerate because your time will be wasted if you are going to make a big issue out of it. We just tolerate and go on. Like I told you many examples in the beginning of the class today. So, secondly, if we are the problem, we have to think that many are tolerating us, so you tolerate others also. Like we should not think I am only tolerating others. Don't that make us proud also? Because we have to also know that others are also tolerating us. For example, in a family, husband and wife, for example, if husband thinks I am tolerating wife, wife also will say I am also tolerating you. Because they both have different natures. We may not even know that others are having trouble with us. Many times we don't know. Like, some people are self-appointed advisors. They go around advising. They think, no, I'm only telling for his good. But others feel very choked because they feel interfered. So some people have a controlling nature or a bossing nature. They don't even know that they have it. So therefore, we should know that like I am thinking I'm tolerating others, others also tolerating me. By thinking like this, we become peaceful. Thirdly, when situation is the problem, you have to tolerate. Like pregnant woman, can somebody else beget a child for her? She only has to beget a child, correct now? And the pain of the labor which comes, she has to tolerate that. So nobody else can tolerate. So she only has to do it. So therefore tolerate. For example, chanting is difficult. Everybody knows it, and it's not that easy. But nobody else can chant for you. You only have to chant your rounds. Correct now. So tolerate and chant. Correct now. Similarly, in the Bhagavatam it is said that when you look at other living entities, feel sympathy for them, that they are haunted by the 3 gunas, especially Rajaguna, Tamaguna. Because they are afflicted by the disease of Tamaguna, Rajaguna, they are suffering. And therefore they are having a mal behavior, like erratic behavior. Or we can also say they have 4 defects, due to which they behave inappropriately. Otherwise, the soul is pure. Soul is never contaminated, but soul has a covering over the soul, which is the subtle body, mind. The impurity lies there. Say, for example, when you all came here, say one of you is coming with the nasty socks, which is nasty smelling. Others may say, hey, you are so nasty smelling, get out. The person is not nasty smelling, the person's socks is nasty. But if the person goes out and removes the socks and washes the feet under a tap, and then comes in, people will say, oh, you are all right. You have no problem with you. The problem is with your socks. Similarly, a problem is with the subtle body covering the soul. The soul is always pure. So when we think that the soul is always pure, it's covered by the mind which is afflicted with 3 gunas, then we can tolerate. Okay. Also, Buddha says, don't see your enemy as envious. You see your enemy as ignorant, he says. You see your enemy as ignorant, not Because he says, if you see them as ignorant, you will feel sympathy. If you see them as envious, you will feel hatred, he says. And hatred is no good for us. So seeing them as ignorant is always good for us. We will feel pity for them, sympathy for them. Another thing, we all know famous reason why we tolerate others is to save the relationship. Correct now? Especially in family things and all, relationship is more important for you. You know, like for example, the wife is telling the husband in the evening, morning I told you to bring this in the market, did you bring it? Husband says, you never told me. He said, I told you, you don't remember when you were standing near the door? You say, that's the reason I'm telling you, you were attending the phone call. You know, you nodded the head, yes, yes, I'll bring you said. Therefore, I thought you understood. Do you remember this? But husband said, no. I agree, I was attending the phone call, but you never came near me. You were in kitchen, I was here. I said, he's on here. And they both are arguing for 2 hours. Now, what will happen now? What do you think is the conclusion? We can ask the children, they will figure a solution. What should they do? Any of you have a solution to that? Both are saying, she says, I have told you, and he says, you never told me. What they should do? Yeah, give her a See, even if the husband, knows that she didn't tell him, still he says, maybe you told me. I forgot. Then she would say, now you are class surrendered to me. So he says, no problem, because for me, relationship with you is more important than, proving I am right. So this is called as right beyond right. Yeah, right beyond right. Because the point is, relationships are so valuable, there's no point increasing the hatred. Like for example, one Mataji was giving her husband a glass of water. Everybody's problem is mobile only nowadays. Mobile call. She was giving like this, and he was also receiving it with another mobile call in his hand. And he didn't catch it, it fell down. And it broke. Now they were having a terrible fight, saying that, she said, I gave you, why you didn't pick up? He said, no, before you released your hand, you didn't see whether I'm picking up or not. He said. And later on, they both understood, for a 2 rupees glass, we are fighting 2 hours. It's not worth it. Relationships are more important right now. Yeah. So that is the 5th point. The 6th point, what not to tolerate. For example, Prabhupada asked one Buddhist guru who was arguing on non-violence point. Prabhupada, see, you have female disciples also. If you are walking on the road with some of your male and female disciples, somebody is pulling the hand of a female disabled, what will you do? He asked the Guruji. And the Guruji thought for a moment, will you act violently or not? Prabhupada asked. No, I won't act. I won't do anything like that, he said. Then female disabled were shocked. Guruji, how can you say that? You won't protect us? He got confused. So, and then Prabhupada said, violence and non-violence have their place. Like a doctor takes a surgeon, takes a knife in the hand, and he may cut your father's belly. But you know that he is not a killer. He's going to use the knife for saving. Similarly, violence can be used for right purposes also. Like you see a Kshatriya king may sometimes subdue, like a police may use a gun to stop the terrorists. That's a violence, but the violence is necessary to keep the terrorists are like animals. They have to be controlled by a gun or a sword. And they won't be controlled by a word. So gentlemen can be controlled by a word. Those who are not gentlemen, the ruffians, they have to be controlled by a sword. So therefore, the violence has its place. Yeah. So in those days in the US, the Prabhupada had some disciples distributing books. So one ruffian one, a very stout fellow will come and hit the devotees, beat up the devotees and tell them to wind up the table and run away. So devotees, whenever they saw, they wind up the table and run. So next day, what they did, devotees, they also took one big devotee. They had to come, stout and strong devotee. So now devotees did not have to run. When this ruffian came, so this fellow said, what is this? And they both had a little fight. Then finally this devotee, the strong devotee, he drove away that fellow. So the news came to Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, smart, very smart. So you also could tackle. So Prabhupada said, sometimes we cannot allow the devotees to be harmed. So devotees have to be protected. So for that, one may have to use violence. Yeah. We are only defending, we are not attacking. Correct, no? But defending purpose. And similarly, seventh one is cultivating knowledge under superior guidance. Cultivate knowledge. Actually, when you cultivate knowledge, you have understanding of why you should tolerate. For example, we tolerate your subordinate working with you in the temple. Because in temple, nobody works. I mean, it's a voluntary service. Congregation coming to temple and doing a service. Seva, correct? It's a voluntary service. If you become angry on subordinate, then they will stop coming. I know companies where the president and vice presidents had a difference in opinion. And the president treated the vice president a little inappropriately, and vice president left the company and joined a rival company. Yeah. And he gave all the secrets of this company to that company. It has happened like that. So you may lose a very important person by, therefore you should think about, should I tolerate in this circumstance or not? Like, temple it happened. One fellow was having a vehicle driver, very nice driver. But the driver spoke some lies. So the boss became very angry. He said, because he spoke lies this month, instead of 6,000 rupees, we are going to cut 5,000 rupees, he said. And the driver said, sir, I have wife, children, how will I survive? You cut 5,000 rupees. He said, no, because you spoke a lie, you need a solid money. Then what this driver did, he left this department, joined another department. So this HOD came running to me and said, that was happened like this, what I should do now? He's a very good driver. I don't have any driver now. It's difficult to recruit new drivers for cheap salary. Then I asked, what happened? Tell me the whole thing. When I heard the whole thing, I understood. I said, hey, 5,000 is a big fine. It's not a good fine just for speaking lie. So then I told him, you call him, I just levy a fine of some 500 rupees, something like that. He did that, and again that fellow came back to the department. So the idea is, sometimes you have to see the cost of not tolerating. Correct, no? The cost involved in not tolerating. And then lastly, associate with tolerant devotees. Because actually there are some sadhu, cow-like devotees. You've seen that? Very soft nature. How many of you have seen some devotees like that? Yeah. Just hang around with them, you will also learn tolerance. Like my sister, my three sisters, in our family, we are a little strong tolerance. We have talked very strongly. So when they moved to Coimbatore, there was one Mataji called Padmasaki Mataji and Swaminathan Prabhu. They were husband and wife. Such mild people we have never seen in the world. Such calm, cool, collected people. So my sister was telling that even if they have to quarrel also, they would only be silent, they would look at you, let them talk. So, and then she will ask Mataji, what happened? I was very angry with them. I spoke. This is why you show anger. This was softly. So it actually had a very positive influence on my sisters. They changed their personality so much after meeting them. So they told them the impact of a good association. In fact, scientists have found out that if you go and caress a cow, by taking a brush or something like that for a half an hour every day, so you will develop sattva also, sattva. You develop mindness. It is a scientific proven fact now. Yeah. So because cow is a very mild-natured animal, you've seen that. The body of a cow is very big. If you see gir guy and all gir cows, but if you even a child can go and touch it, will not harm anybody. Very calm. So therefore, we have to associate with tolerant devotees to learn tolerant. So now you have the reason why we should tolerate, right? Correct. Not good number.
Wisdom is very important.
Yeah, correct.
For that, it's actually guidance. Sometimes, we don't have that wisdom.
Correct.
So that's
Yeah, that's true. Say, for example, you are working in a department with a colleague, and nowadays very difficult to get a good colleague in the same department, especially for voluntary service. They have some deficiencies, you have some deficiency, you both tolerate each other. Like Prabhupada said, if you get a cow to give you milk, you will tolerate the kicks of the cow. He said, but you'll get milk, that's assurance. No. But somebody is a foolish person, he will say that because the cow is kicking, get lost, I don't want the cow, then you don't get milk. He says, no problem, I don't want milk, if somebody says. So we want the mission to progress ahead. Prabhupada said, we don't want to remove them, we want to reform them. We don't want to break them, we want to mend them. Like the Prabhupada said, use these words. So Prabhupada somehow or other tolerated them and polished them. Prabhupada said, we are all like unpolished diamonds when we joined the society. And then he put them in a box and put a plug. They upgrade one another. I hurt you, you hurt me, and then this way we all polish. At the end of the lifetime, you will see when you open and see everybody is shining, you become pure devotees. So till we become pure devotees, we all keep hurting one another. But we should not leave. That's a challenge for you. Stay within ISKCON, stay within devotee sangha, don't leave and go away. Those people who say, oh, this fellow is hurting, I'm going away, they remain like unpolished diamonds. But those who remain, they only get polished. Correct. We can take one last question. That Prabhu.
Prabhu, I heard all these anarthas. Where did we develop? That was my question.
Okay.
It's, but I think partly you answered, it's also maybe the most, but I'm not sure. They also give an example, a couple of them saying it's like the struggle for existence and survival of the fittest. People are, somehow have to survive and then get into all these issues. But originally soul doesn't have all this anarthas, but where did we really have it from?
Yeah. You see, the soul has a glow emanating from the soul called as chit, we call it, which is pure white. It's like effulgence. That's like Lord has a body with effulgent body, correct now? Vedaham ekam purusham mahantam aditya varnam tamasa parastat, it is said. Lord's body is called as aditya varnam. It's glowing. Similarly, the soul's body is also glowing. Chit. But when the soul, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in his writing, the other message, he actually jumps out of the spiritual world. He jumps out with a desire to be independent. How? Like you will see sometimes a calf is released from the ropes and the calf will frolic around. You have seen that, lifting its tail, jumping up and down with the newborn freedom. And it will run all around the ground. I'm wondering why he's running all around, because he wants to show everybody I am free now. I'm independent now. So the soul also, when he gets out of the spiritual world, at that time, he encounters Maya in this world. Just like, for example, if a person with a weak immunity, with a weak immunity goes to a sanatorium where people are coughing due to tuberculosis. So it's a two wrong combination. He is actually having weak immunity and is going to an area where people are already having a contagious disease. So he contracts the disease. Similarly, the material world has got three gunas, which are contaminating. And the soul has come to this world with an independent mentality. So, and that independent mentality is called chitta, we call it, contaminated consciousness. So the glow of the soul becomes dim. So at that time, it becomes enveloped by a subtle body, where his independent desire is stored. The subtle body. His desire to be independent is stored. And when he encounters Maya, the three gunas, and the Trividam, Narakasyedam, Dvaram, Nashanam, Atman, Krishna says, the three doors, gateways to hell. It is lust, anger, and greed. Yeah. So lust represents enjoyership, and greed represents proprietorship, and anger represents controllership. Like you tried, like Hiranyakashipu tried to control Parag, he couldn't control. So he became angry. Right? So that's connected to anger, like that. Similarly, you will find the proprietorship. Bali Maharaj wanted to be proprietor of the whole three worlds, all three worlds, like that. Alexander wanted to be proprietor. So that is connected to greed. This way, lust, anger, and greed are connected to these three things. So these three contaminations are stored in subtle body. And whatever is in subtle body, for example, I have a desire to play piano. Then I get a piano and I play. Correct, no? Or I want to beat a mridanga. Similarly, the desires are translated into action by the gross body mechanism. Gross body is like a servo motor, and subtle body is like a microprocessor. Whatever you program here, you exercise it through the gross body. These two things follow the soul. The moment the soul becomes independent and let itself become covered. Just like, for example, it's called the fallen position. Somebody follows the laws of America. He is in an achyuta, unfallen position. But some thief becomes a criminal. Immediately they put a handcuff. It's fallen position. He has fallen from citizenship. So then he is given another place. Correct now. Similarly, when the soul tries to be independent, then he is given a subtle body. Okay, you don't want to be there. Now you exercise your newborn freedom in whatever way you want. He is given that facility. Is it okay?
So the moment it calls, we get the subtle body.
Yes, you are right. Correct. That's why you get subtle.
So that.
Yeah. Actually, we need a subtle body and a gross body only when we have independent desire. Because if our desires are aligned with Krishna, we don't need any more bodies. We need only spiritual body.
Even whether it's a newborn child or.
No, we may say newborn child, but from the previous life, the newborn child also, some newborn child may have polio attack, for example. That is due to the same soul having done some criminal activity in the previous life is entering into another body now. So he is reaping the. What happens is the reactions come here. When the death comes, then whatever reactions are not given are stored in the subtle body and they are delivered in the next body, like goods and delivered. Just like aeroplane, you take like aeroplane, you have a connecting plane. So they make sure luggage also goes with you. The connecting plane. You leave this plane and go to another plane, but your luggage follows you. Like that, the karma also follows you to the next life. Yeah.
What if you do a reverse? Just an example. So I don't know how to make a cup of Krishna. So I learn how to make a cup of bread. Tomorrow I'll die.
Yes.
In the next life, I'll be again influenced of that. Do you think I'll remember that?
Oh yes. Oh, you remember a lot of things. Well, actually, how I can show you one thing here. You will see now.
Seven. Nine. And last number is 10. You're a good boy. Give me answer. Quick. 1 plus 1. 3 plus 2. 5 plus 1. 7 plus 1. Now, give me answer. 5 minus 2. 5 minus 1. 5 minus 4. 6 minus 3. 7 minus 4. 8 minus 4. 10 minus 3. Very good. Good.
See, he must have been some math teacher who did some blunder, he became a dog. He's a simple dog, you can see that. But that means he's carrying forward to the next life. Now another one I'll show you. Amazing.
नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानंद नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानंद बताओ नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानंद रूपम लसत्कुंडलं गोकुले भ्राज मानम यशोदा भियोलुख लाब्दा वमानम परमृष्ट मत्यंत तो द्रुते गोप्या रुदन्तमुहुर्नेत्र युग्मं भजन्तम् करं भोज युग्मेन शातंक नेत्रम् मुहुश्वास कंपात्रि रेखांक कंठम् स्थितग्रैव दामोदरं भक्ति बद्धम् इति दृक्स्वलीलाभिरानन्द Kunde. Swagosham nimajyante makhya payantam. Tadiyeshu tagneshu bhakter जितत्वम. जितत्वम होता है, जित्यम नहीं होता है. पुनः प्रेम तस्तम शतावृत.
Amazing, na? Yes, sir? Yeah, so these are all impressions carried from previous life. I showed you one Durgand Vasana, Sugandh Vasana. You know, Durgand Vasana is somebody is carrying sinful reactions, so they're born in a dog's body. And some impressions they're carrying. And the child is certainly born in a, this is a few months old child. This is from Gurugram in India. This child.
This was viral from.
Yeah, kids. So actually, generally children start speaking at 2.5. This is a few months old child. So you can see that. So the impressions are carried in the mind. Krishna says, Vayu Gandha Nivashya. Wind carries aromas. Like that, the subtle body carries impressions from the previous life. Krishna says that. But there's a verse which says that. But that Utkramantam Sharidam Jadavapnoti Yacha Utkramatishvara Grihit Vaitan Samyati Vayu Gandha Nivashya. Krishna says that. Our children enjoyed very much, isn't it? Yeah. So, these are both.
Thank you.
So I answered, thank you. I answered all the questions, okay? Yeah. I think here, there was one question here. If some devotee offends another devotee and that devotee forgives or not, takes the offense, will the devotee offending still get the reaction? Oh, good question. Yeah, see, there's one pastime. One day, this I read it in a book by His Holiness Gaur Swami Maharaj's Krishna Kathamrita. There I read this. You all might have heard it, but this is the version that I heard that. There was a limping devotee who had a lame legs. And then he was walking. And when he went across the kutir of Prabhu Goswami laughed, like that he laughed. So this limping Vaishnava thought that he is laughing at my lame legs. Immediately, Prabhu Goswami's samadhi in the spiritual world vanished. And he didn't know why. And then the limping devotee went to Sanatana Goswami and said, your brother, younger brother, he is laughing at me. I am very confused. Everybody says he's an exalted devotee, but he is laughing at me. I don't know how to understand. I am committing some mental offenses to him. Sanatana said, what are you saying? Did he laugh at you? And then Sanatana said, wait a minute, let me find out. And he sat in meditation and meditated on the spiritual world. So at that time, he saw the beautiful pastime where Radharani is trying to pluck a flower, but the branch was very high. So Krishna walks here and on the branch and then pushes the branch down. So Radharani is holding the branch and plucking flowers, and Krishna leaves the branch and it goes up. Now she is taken to high above the ground and she's like, hey Lalita, hey Vishaka, she's calling all the names. And all the gopis keep coming running. So when Sanatana saw, he also started laughing. So then the limping Vaishnava got confused. Hey, both brothers are laughing at me. Then Sanatana said, do you know why I was laughing? Let me tell you. Then he told this pastime. He heard that the limping Vaishnava, he also laughed. Then Sanatana told him, you see, now I laughed and you laughed. What's wrong with Rupa Goswami laughing? He was not laughing at you because he connected to the same station. Like in TV, you connect to the same channel, no? You connect to the same Goloka channel. No? So they all the three could see the same pastime. So now the limping Vaishnava again felt very morose that although Rupa Goswami didn't do any mistake to me, I took offense unnecessarily. So he felt very morose. So he told Sanatana that I'll immediately go to him and offer obeisances. So when he went to Rupa Goswami and offered obeisances, Rupa Goswami said, oh really? You thought like that? I never knew that you are passing by. He said, then Rupa Goswami also offered obeisances. But somehow, even after offering obeisances, both the parties are feeling some kind of uneasiness in their minds. See, this you all will have experienced. Sometimes even after saying sorry, puri and all that, sometimes something in the mind is not it produces some kind of moroseness of pain, you will see that. Then Rupa Goswami said to him, come, let's go to my brother. They both went to Sanatana Goswami and said, please share some Krishna Katha with us so that we can evaporate this unpleasant feeling. So 4 or 5 hours he spoke Krishna Katha continuously. After that, both of them completely could evaporate this, feelings in their mind. So what we learned from this pastime is, even if you didn't intend to offend a Vaishnava, but if they took offense, it is better that we clarify it to them. If we clarify it and say that, please kindly don't take offense. I never thought like that or said like that. Please don't take offense. Clarifying is always good. Yeah. Here another point, Janeshwari, Jayeshwari, Radha is asking that, what should be our attitude when sometimes our tolerance is perceived as weakness in this material world? Actually, in the material world, Narada Muni told his snake disciple that if boys are stoning at you, I told you not to bite them, but I can always hiss. So therefore, hissing means you are not harming them, but driving them away. So that I would say that biting is aggressive, hissing is assertive, and letting others stone you is passive. So which one you should do? Should you be passive or assertive or aggressive? Don't, that means, Jiva Jinido, live and let live. Don't let others exploit you, and you make sure you don't exploit others also. But we can defend ourselves. That was the question, I think. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Hello, Prabhupada. A lot of devotees here. 25 devotees online.
40 were there.
34.
Okay.
40 were there online.
Amazing. They are just till the last point they have stayed through many of them. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
HG Radheshyam Prabhu ki
Jai.
5 minutes Kirtan I can do.
yes, no.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare
Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna. Rama Rama Hare Hare
पावन हरि नाम संकीर्तन की श्री श्री किशोर किशोरी की श्री श्री गौर निताय की श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की
जय
लीला प्रभुपाद की
जय
सर्वंग की गौर प्रेमानंदे
हरे हरे बोल।
Thank you for such a wonderful class, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.